on to the squares or the angular shapes, the shapes with that have angles. So we're also going to talk about squares, rectangles, triangles. You know that putting two triangles together automatically form a square or a rectangle. And when I said design, well, since we're still talking about design thinking in fashion design, and we're still treating designing with shapes. And when I talked about designing with shapes, I told you that to change the design, all you need to do is to alter the exits, or the exits. We call them exits, not entrances. The exits. So where your body will pass through, where your arms will pass through, and everything. And that's the same thing that we did in all those pictures. I decided to pick the less used forms of the shapes. You know, normally when you think of using shapes to create garments, you are thinking of creating abayas, you're thinking of creating kaftans with rectangles. You know, those are like the easier ones. So you're using like one piece of fabric, one rectangle, to create an abaya, or to create a kaftan, or to create a kimono. You know, just those simple things. And then you can, those are the ones that are like the most common ones. Those are the ones I even suggest that you teach first when you're teaching, especially little kids, on how to design. And those are the ones that you'll see used very, very well in freehand. So having said that, we're going to look at other non-common ways of designing with shapes. And we're going to look at making probably like harem pants. There I made a harem jumpsuit. I love that one. I'm definitely making that for myself. I'm going to make that one in my normal size, and I'm going to make it for myself. We also made harem pants using triangles. That one too I love, because it gives you like an ease of movement. So you can, when you think shapes, you don't just think gowns or everything. So we had we also have the regular, we just made a blouse. We also made a blouse. We're also going to simulate making a blouse, which we just put elastic at the waist, so that it will just create a kind of fullness. Although the blouse there is not too full, you can make it as full as you want. Oh yes, and then we made this lovely skirt. This skirt is made out of 2 squares. The only difference is made out of 2 squares. That's why we made sure we use 2 different fabrics to show that it's made out of 2 squares. And what made the difference was that we moved the point, which I'm going to show you. We moved the point of entrance for the skirt. So one part was put at one extreme end, the other part was put somewhere in the middle, and then when you put those squares together, you get this beautiful design that you're looking at up there. Okay, so you just keep on, you can just change the orientation. You can also shift the orientation of your shapes so that your entrances will be different, just like we did in the white top. So having gone through all that theory, let's do some practical. So this is going to be very, very short, because it's just simple. Just change the location of the exits, that's all. Okay, so we're going to start. Let's do the harem jumpsuit, and then you see, and then we're going to also show you the skirt. And then other ones, I'm sure you can think them up. Probably I'll show you the harem with the rectangles. Sorry, with the triangles. Yes, the harem with the triangles, and so that you can just do whatever it is that you want to do. And then you can also think of other things that you can add to enhance the garment. although you're using a basic shape, you can use other things like we did using the elastic bands. You can also decide to do some manipulations, which we did a little on for the skirt, and just different things just to change the overall look. You can do some embellishments, you can do some folds, you can just add some pleats, some tucks, and whatever to play with the fullness that you get there. So we're moving on now to show some examples of how those stuff that you can see there were created, and I expect that you think of other ways to do it just by moving the points, the exit points. Yeah. Okay, so now in creating this jumpsuit, it's really pretty easy, something that you can do very quickly. You can see that I used elastic bands, and I can decide to pull it all the way down like that, or as it was before, I pull it up. You can also make this for children, especially very easy. Make it in stretch fabric so that their movements, they have like fluid, like stretch fabric, they'll have fluid movements. It's beautiful. It's beautiful both for adults and children alike. So you can modify it in any way you want. You can decide that you want to put some elastic here at the waist, or just even in front, and then have that. So you can see the difference. Something as simple as doing this, something as simple as gathering this can make to your design, right? So that's basically it. You just do a lot of things. So this is what we are trying to create. Something like this. So you can modify your own in any way. It's just to locate where all the exits will be. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that I'm going to just measure how long do I want it to be without the elastic band. How long do I want it to be without the elastic band? And to do that, I just take a measurement from the top to where I want it to be without the elastic band. So I'm going to choose like the maximum length. So I'm going to choose like 8 or 8.5. Let's do 8.5 inches. So that's about 22 cm. So I'm going to let's make it about 24 centimeters. So I'm going to make a 24 by 24 centimeters square. It does not have to be square, it can be a rectangle. So if you want it to be a rectangle, it can be a rectangle, that's fine. So you can decide, if you want it to be a rectangle, you can decide, okay, so how much of the drop of the sleeve, in case you do not want to add probably you don't want to add extra elastic band, or you don't want to add an extra sleeve, or you want it to just drop like a kaftan will drop, then you measure all that way and measure the length, the width that you want for that. So let's assume here I was actually tempted to add an extra sleeve, but I decided not to afterwards. So you can also do that. So that's 9. So let's just do it. Let's just make a square. So we're just going to do a 9 by 9 square in case we want to make it. You want to make it kaftan like, but if not, you can do it by a 9 by 7. Well, that's the measurement for this dress form. So you can use whatever measurement you want. So we just make a square. So I'm measuring out my square. I said I was going to do it 24 by 24. So let me do it 24 by 24. And please remember that this is doing a 24 by 24, meaning that I'm going to use 2 squares. If you want to just use 1 square, the length will have to be longer, in case you don't want to do any sewing on the shoulder parts. Then it's going to be longer. So instead of doing a 24 by 24, you'll be doing 48 by 24. So you just fold it over. But I'm going to do a 24 by 24 because I want to use 2 squares. In case you have any question, you can always just drop your question. Send me an email at meccaadidiro@gmail.com, or you can just call me, ask your question, or send me a WhatsApp message. I'll just drop my number so that it'll be easy for you to make any inquiries, ask any questions. I'll be glad to help you out on your journey. Okay, so hoping that all my lines are clear. Probably. Okay, so what we're going to do now is that we're going to locate where we want to put our body parts. So I'm going to find the middle. I want to put my neck snack in the middle. If I didn't want to, then I will have like a neck. I just have one sleeve longer than the other, so it will be just to one side or something. But what I want to do is I want to put it smack here in the middle. So and because I have to enter by my jumpsuit or my dress, I'm going to just draw a line where I'm going to put a placket, so that here I've decided I want to put my neckline, the opening in front. You can decide that your own opening will be at the back. You can decide that your own opening will even be on the shoulder line. It totally depends on you. So you can decide that you want to put a zipper, maybe a zipper on the neckline, so that you'll be able to fit into the garment. It's entirely up to you. So I'm going to, at this point, you have to just measure, do your normal measurement of your neckline, and then you put your neckline there. So the next thing you do is that I'm going to decide where I want my shoulder to be. You can decide that you want your arms to come out of here, it's your decision, it's your design decision, or you want it to come out of here. But I want mine to be on the same level as the neckline, so that I can have this part as sort of like a drape under my arm. Yes, so that's what I have decided, but you can do whatever it is. You can decide that you want to just like a kaftan, so you just decide that this is where you want your arm to come out of, or you can decide that one of your hands will come out of here and another one here. As I said, is your prerogative. It depends on you totally. So just experiment on small scale, do different things and see what you prefer, how you prefer everything to drop, how you prefer your design to be. So just try different things. You can actually even make a whole with just one shape, with one pattern, just by changing. You just change the location, and I can decide that, okay, I want to drop this here, my neckline will be here, the other arm will be here. It's just give me a different design, but it's the same pattern. It's the same square, the same basic pattern. Okay, so now I'm just going to measure my shoulder, how I want my shoulder, where I want my shoulder to start. I'm going to do it. So my armhole, then I'll measure my armhole. I'll measure my armhole. So from here to here, I'm not going to sew it. From here to here, I'm not going to sew it. Let me see if this will work. Okay, so all these places marked in blue will not be sewn. Yes, will not be sewn. So those places I just marked in blue will not be sewn, because this will be the armhole. This is the armhole. Okay, so we're done with that. I would have gone quickly through this, but I just want to take it slow for people who are new to design, right? Okay, so at this point, now we're going to measure half of probably your calf, wherever it is that you want to. So what I will normally do is I'm just going to measure right around the calf, right? We just measure around the calf of the subject, or your own calf, or just take a general measurement. It can be that. So we're going to take half of that measurement. Remember that we're taking this as the front, and we're going to do something. We're going to do exactly the same thing for the back. So we're going to measure half of this. So we'll take the measurement around the calf and measure half, and take half of it, so that we can have an exit. So I'll measure half of my calf plus seam allowance or anything. Just measure half of your calf on both places. Great. So half of your calf. As I did before, I'm going to show you. So all this place here will be left unsewn. All this place here will be, because this is for my legs. This is for my legs to come out. So we have our head. So this is the head. This and this are the armholes, and this are the legs, for your legs to come out. So now we have, so the next thing you do is just cut another one of this and replicate everything and sew everything together. And that is that for designing a harem pants. Let's say this is a harem jumpsuit. So that's how that one was created. Okay, so now we're going to go on to, so here it's cut 2, okay, which was my choice. It could easily have been cut 1 if I decided to just put this on the double. And then what you can also decide to add elastic bands or extra sleeves, so an extra rectangle or square here for the hand, so that it will increase the length of your sleeve, the sleeve part. And on the leg, as I did here, you can decide to add bands, any kind of bands you want, to hold it firm and to give it that beautiful look, because you need something extra so that you can easily just take it up and just puff it as much as you want, or you can easily bring it down, you know, just to hold it. You can easily bring it down or do whatever it is. And as I said before, you can always add belt holes or not. You can always add pockets, nice pockets in there. or you can add your pockets on top. So you can do absolutely anything that you want to do. You can add whatever it is you want to add to it. So let's create let's do this the square. So in getting, before we go on, now that we're done with this, in getting, oh hello there, so this is pretty easy. As you can see, they're just two triangles. They're two triangles cut at an angle. You see that? So just two triangles cut at an angle. So you can also use this for skirts. You can use this for even a sleeve. You can just, yeah, you can use it for a sleeve. You can use it for skirts. You can use it for a whole dress. And you can also decide that you want to make multiple drapes like this, or drops like this. So you just put them, just do multiple, add different squares together, and then you're going to have, you have like different drops at different angles, and then decide where you're going to place your neckline, where you're going to place your armhole, and where your body is going to come out of. And that is that for that one. Okay, so we're going to treat, before we get to the skirt, before we get to the skirt, we're going to treat the other ones that are in the picture. Okay, so this is simple. This is the easiest of all. Just get a rectangle or a triangle twice the length, fold it in the middle, just like you're doing a kaftan. That is how this was created. Just do it like a regular kaftan using rectangles or triangle or squares or rectangles. Yes, squares or rectangles. You can also decide to use triangles, especially if you want to do some color blocking, right? These pants were created with triangles, and I'm going to show you right now how that was done. I love pants because short pants are my favorite piece of clothing to wear. Shorts, trousers, pants, any kind of pants, well, comfortable pants. So that is another type of harem pants, but this was created with triangles, and I'm going to show you exactly how that was done right now. So let me just scoot over. Good. As usual, you decide on the size of your triangle. Just press everything down. So here I have a triangle, right? Yeah, I have a triangle. So I have two triangles, which is giving me a square. But whatever triangle you're looking at, it doesn't really matter. Okay, so in order for me to get, because I don't want to have like the pointed parts there, in order for me to get the part for my leg, I've taken the circumference of where I want it to stop, and then I'm just going to measure that. For example, I have my calves to measure about 12 centimeters, right? So meaning that from here to here I should have like a 12 centimeter length in any way. So to get a 12 centimeter length, I'll just divide it by 2, That's 6 centimeters, right? And then I come here at a right angle to ensure that I measure 6. I must have a 6 centimeter measurement there, so that at the end of the day I have 12 if once it's a full circle. So I'm having 6 and having 12. Okay, so let me explain it. I'll have to look at a point here on this place where when I cut across it, I will get a total of 12 centimeters, which I require as the entrance or the exit for the leg. So which is what I'm going to do here. There. And I'm going to do it for the other side too. Note that this here is my fold line, and this stays directly under my crotch. When I cut it out, you know. And so we're going to do practically the same thing for the waist, because this is going to be, you know, it's a trouser, so our exits are only the waist and the legs. So we have the waist. So exactly the same thing I'm going to do for the waist. I'm going to find the diameter, not the radius. I'm going to find the diameter of the waist. So my waist measurement is 20. So I'm going to do you can decide that your waist will be bigger than that, so you can just gather it into a band. This was put in a band. This was gathered slightly into a band. Not too much. Not too much. But there's a band there at the waist. Or you can decide to put anything. You can decide to put rope. You can decide to put anything. So we're going to find our measurement now. Trying to calculate it, looking for my calculator. Okay, so I'm finding the diameter, 6 points. Yeah, okay, so that's what it gives me. Good. So if I do this, I'm going to get about 10 centimeters. Yeah. So you find the diameter. So you say your waist measurement, the waist measurement divided by 3.14, which is the same thing as pi, right? To get your waist measurement, to get any circle, the diameter of any circle, that's what you do. So there. So which is the same thing that is going to be at the back. I'm going through this one step by step because so that you can have a clear understanding of what I did with the rectangle. This we're going to cut out. So it's just that easy, and I'll keep on saying it, and I think I need it to resound in your mind that the only thing you have to think of when dealing with shapes most of the time, and when designing with them, is that I just think, okay, where's my leg going to come out, where's my body going to come out, where's my head going to come out, and that's it. So this is the fold line, so we folded it on the fold line, you see, fold line, folded, and I'm going to cut off there. I really did not have to cut it off. If I want to have this angle, if you want to have this angle, you can leave it. You don't have to cut it off. The only thing that you do is that you just sew from here, and then your leg will come out of here, and you can do whatever it is you want to do with it. If you still want to leave that angle, and it will look really beautiful too, depending on what you are going for. Okay. But this, as I said, was a design choice. I did not want to have those angles, but you can always have the angle so that you say, oh, okay, I have a perfectly triangle waist. Okay, so that's cut the leg, so we're sewing all this. Voila, and then your harem pants are completed. So you have the legs coming out of there, and then you have something like that, right? It's paper, so it won't work as well. So I have all that beautiful space there to play with, or to do yoga with, or just to jump, to dance with, generally just to be very, or lounge with, just to feel very comfortable. So here we have the legs coming out of here, and we have you sew all that place, then you have the waist, so the rest of the body. This is the waist, these are the legs and legs. So that's what we have there. So the rest of the designs are almost explanatory. So let's go to the skirt. So you see that made out of two triangles. I decided to just manipulate it a little so that I can have this at the side. And I love the train. So I decided to leave this as a train, but you can always do whatever it is that you want to. You can make a bustle out of this by putting some probably elastic, or you just tack them here, you just have like a nice bustle skirt, or you can just leave it, or you can decide that you want to put pleats too. That will work. It's just different pleats, just pleat them in layers, whatever it is, but we'll discuss all those ones when we come to fabric manipulation. But to create this 2 square skirt, I'm just going to show you that right now. Remember, I'm just giving you ideas. I think the ideas that you can build on, and whenever you see a shape, you can have things coming to your mind on how to create different beautiful things with them, right? So as usual, you decide what your length will be, the length and the width of whatever it is. So to create the skirt, as I said before, use squares. So I've cut out my squares, and what I like to do is I like to set guidelines so that I'll just have an idea of where I want my circles to be. So for both the front and the back, whichever one is the front and whichever one is the back, it's best to use 2 different fabrics so that everybody can see the beauty of the whole design. So as usual, we're going to mark where our exits are going to be, and since this is a skirt, we just have basically just one exit up and down, right? So for here, I'll decide that I do not want my waist, the place for my waist, to be in the middle. I want it to be at one side, so that I can have that wavy look when everything is sewn together. So because I want to use a band, I'm going to use the hip circumference to make my entrance or my exit at this point. So I've decided that this is where I want it to be. I don't have to be on this line, it can be anywhere here. So I'm going to just pick a point here and draw my exit here. Right, let me just draw it in so that I can see it. So I'm going to be under, this is one, this is my okay, so on this side, this is where I want it to be, but on the other side I'm going to put it somewhere else. You can see that I have marked this side here, right? And I made notches so that when I want to sew them together, I know exactly, because the exits are not going to be at the same place, so that I will not be confused. So I've made notches on both sides so that I can align them properly at the end of the day. So I'm going to go to the other part. So these parts are going to be together. So I'm going to go here, and the corresponding, you can see the corresponding part for this would ordinarily be here, but I do not want to place it there. So I'm going to place my second circle somewhere else on the whole circumference. So I've decided that this is where I want to place, probably here. I want to place my second circle. Like, we easily have placed it here. It doesn't really matter what, well, it matters to the extent of what the kind of effect I want to have at the end of the day. So I'm going to just place it here, or let me just place it on the line, right, somewhere there, and do the circumference, the same measurement, as we did before. Yes, so the same measurement, we're taking it, same measurement, right? So we're going to cut it out. So just remember, you're the one that determines where you want your exits to be, but to have the kind of effect that I have on the door, you will need to put them at not the same point, and don't centralize any of the circles. You can centralize one and leave the other, depending on, just practice, experiment. That's the beauty of design thinking, is in the experimentation. So the experimenting, that's the fun part. So by experimenting, you discover different ways you can achieve different things. Things that you never have thought of will just come out. Even things that you not have intended will come out. So we're just going to cut this out, and we'll see what the impact of our design. Okay, we have the two squares cut out here. We have the two squares cut out. So that's all. So you're practically done with your designing. You just sew around where the notches are. Let me use pins. You sew all the way around. Just make sure that all the notches are in the all the way around. But you know that my hole is at this side, and if you look in here, you see, and then you see the one at the back there. So they are not in at the same point. It always shows better, it always looks better when you use different fabric to at this point, depending on how full you want it to be, you can decide that, okay, you want to put some organza or something inside. Just to make it puff up a little bit, especially when you want to bustle it. That would be fantastic. So now once you've sewn all the way around, you bring your two, using paper is not that easy. So once you've sewn all the way around, you bring this part and this part together. You can see how it's already forming how it's already puffing. So in essence, what it will do is that it's going to pull the fabric, the color that you put under is going to pull it up, and then you have the colors interchangeably showing, just like we have here. So we have the colors showing interchangeably, so you can see that. You can see that because of how I positioned the circles on the two fabrics. It could have looked any other way. If I positioned in any other direction, then I will have my colors coming out differently. And in this way, you can decide, okay, that you want to have more of the inner color, you want to have more of the outer color. That will determine what part of it faces up. So that's it for our designing with shapes. The next thing we're going to go on to in our next volume will be lines, right? We're going to be discussing lines and angles. Oh, that's really exciting. So we're going to be dealing with a little bit of structure. Yes, that's it. But we also have a course dedicated to structural and geometric pattern cutting. And we have another course on transformational reconstruction. Yes, so you can decide that you want to take those courses, but those courses are paid courses. This is just in our VidMag series, so you're just going to have the basic technical knowledge, the fundamentals to be able to think and create whatever designs that you have. Okay, so now until the next volume, it's goodbye from me.